Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. Continuing with our series on answer writing for general studies papers of civil service main examination, to take up a question that you might come across in GS paper 1. So let us read out the question together. What, in your opinion, are the most far-reaching scientific developments of ancient India? What cultural and philosophical environment made scientific thought possible in India? The question, as you can see, has two parts. The first part is more factual one, where you have to list out the scientific developments that you think are most profound from the ancient India. And in the second part, you have to talk about, in fact, you have to justify what were the cultural and philosophical conditions which made scientific thought possible in India. So, how we introduce our answer? What we are going to do here, we would actually take the stance that while we are proud of India's scientific achievements, we have to be humble also about talking of the conditions which made scientific development possible in India. One of the oldest continuous civilizations, India can be reliably expected of making scientific advance of much impact. Again, to be quite humble, India's scientific achievements, you could say, India's disproportionate share of scientific achievements among the societies of the world, among the nations of the world, is for one of the reasons for this these great volume of scientific achievements is because that India has been a civilizational nation for a long time. Various far-reaching scientific developments had their origin in India. This is just a restatement of the question, and these cover the whole gamut of scientific developments. Now, as is customary in history questions, that is questions from General Studies Paper 1, we can arrange our answer chronologically. Beginning with the Harappan period, India has made contributions in areas like metrology, that is standardized weight and measures, geometry, medicine, etc. We would just discuss them. Medicine, surgery, astronomy, mathematics, etc. Some of these developments have fundamentally shaped the course of science. Some of these developments that India has observed in the sciences were actually path defining for the disciplines of sciences. So, what have been India's gifts to the sciences? First, we are talking about metrology, that is standardization of weight and measures. Actually, the Harappan sites have yielded many standardized weights and measures. So we can say that India has made early development in the field of metrology, that is measurement, standardizing of weight and measures. Then comes geometry. We have the example of the Sulba Sutras, which talk about the dimensions of the fire altars, that is Yajnavedis. Then comes systemized medicine. Some of the personages who have contributed to systemizing medicine in India are Charak, who is considered the father of Ayurveda, and surgery. Sushrut is considered the father of surgery. Then comes astronomy. Actually, India adopted the attitude of evidence over dogma. That is why India made great progress in the area of astronomy. And some of the important contributors were Aryabhatta and his follower but near contemporary Varahamihir. Then coming to mathematics, India has made a number of developments in the field of mathematics. For an example, India developed the number system. That is why they are called Indo-Arabic numeral system. India invented or in fact discovered zero and its practical use, decimal, place value, quadratic equations, and so on. Now elaborating these points further, the most striking find from Harappa are its weight and scales, which are remarkably standardized over a 1500 into 1000 kilometer square area. You can understand it very well that Harappa's expanse was more than present day's Western Europe. So in this vast area of more than 15 lakh square kilometer, the Harappans were using standardized weight and measures. And as you can understand, standardizing weight and measures would have the effect of promoting trade and would lead to economic integration through a large area, a vast expanse. Then coming to the Vedic period, with the advent of Vedic practices rose the requirement of fire altars. These had to be of definite shape and dimensions. The Sulb Sutras, whose very literal meaning is the string codes, because the fire altars had to be measured with cords or strings, give geometrical formulae like the Pythagoras theorem, squaring the circle, understanding of pi, etc. We would take these points in a bit of detail. You do have some understanding of the Pythagoras theorem. What the Pythagoras theorem talks about, actually it says that in India's version, Pythagoras theorem goes like, if you were to square the hypotenuse of a triangle, it would be equal to the sum of the square of the perpendicular and the base. We would repeat it. If someone were to build a square over the hypotenuse of a triangle, it would have the same area as the other two squares on the base as well as the perpendicular of the triangle. Again, squaring the circle is another classical problem in mathematics. What it means that finding the square which has the same area as another circle they have equal areas. Then Indians had an understanding of pi. What is pi is, you would have known its numerical value, which is approximately 3.14, but pi is actually, it's the proportion of the perimeter and the diameter. It is perimeter up to diameter. Then in the early common era, Charak systemized medicine. He developed the ideas like identifying herbs, good manufacturing practices, the concept of the humors, that is the, in India this is the concept of three doshas. You are probably aware of the three doshas of phlegm, bile and breath. Phlegm, bile and breath, these are considered the three doshas which control the health of a person. Then coming to the 5th century, around the Gupta period, we have Aryabhatta. Aryabhatta signifies the scientific temper in truest sense. His work challenges established dogma like metaphysical origin of eclipses. You are certainly aware that Indians had this mythology. The Indian mythology talked about the two demons of Rahu and Ketu causing the eclipses, the solar and lunar eclipse. But Aryabhatta conclusively refuted this idea. He showed that this is because of the sun and moon coming in the same line that the eclipses are caused, because their shadows then fall on some parts of earth, and from these shadows we cannot actually observe either the moon or the sun. He again refutes the idea of a flat earth, something R never does not believe even now. R never does still believes that the earth is flat because their scripture says so. His lineage follower Varahamihir makes as great contributions to astronomy like Varahamihir standardized the calendar. He calculated the dimensions of the Mars actually. Some people say that he had found the diameter of the Mars. Now, it is the discipline of mathematics that owes the most to India. Apart from geometry, Indians perfected the number system. They discovered the practical use of zero and applications of the decimal. They interpreted the place value system, and they invented the trigonometric table, among other developments. Now, these were the facts about the scientific development in India. Now, we would discuss what were the cultural and philosophical milieu, the cultural and philosophical conditions in which these scientific developments were possible. The scientific breakthroughs in ancient India would not have been possible without a favorable cultural and philosophical milieu. A tolerance for pluralism, acceptance of contradictory hypotheses, and a culture of open debate promoted scientific thought. You are almost certainly aware of the concept of the practice of Shastrarth. These were open debates. Ideas and dogmas were subject to questioning. It is also apparent that phases of scientific profusion were phases marked by Protestant thoughts and tolerant rulers. How we can say that? You are probably aware that it's the Gupta period that sees most scientific development in India, and the Gupta rulers were well known for their tolerance towards other religions or sects other than Hinduism, which they themselves practiced. They actually patronized Buddhism and even Jainism. Moreover, we would give the example of Susruth, who performed dissections on cadavers, going against the prohibitions of the Varna system. Actually, the orthodoxy of Varna system prohibits anyone from the Brahmin, Kshatriya and the Vaisyak Varnas from performing cadaver dissection. You cannot dissect a dead body, and that would be against the interest of a surgeon. A surgeon would not be able to learn about the anatomy, the human anatomy, if he were not allowed to perform dissection on cadavers. So Susruth actually goes against the Varna prohibitions. Unfortunately, the Varna system later ossified and stanched all flow of development to surgery. You can well understand how much harm it would have caused to humanity that Indians could not develop surgery due only to the prohibitions, due only to the restrictions of the Varna system. Now, coming to Aryabhatta, he poses a still more formidable challenge to orthodoxy. He challenges metaphysics, as we have just discussed about his theory of eclipses, stands by evidence. For an example, he almost conclusively proves that the earth was not a flat surface, but rather a sphere, and it rotated on its axis. And he indulges in rational skepticism. Now, to conclude here, actually these scientific developments of ancient India have a lesson for present day India. If India is to claim its position among the leaders in sciences, we must promote a culture of open debate, challenge anachronistic customs, especially superstitions, and usher in an equitable society not driven among group identities. We are essentially talking about the caste system and similar restrictions imposed by caste, creed, etc. So we should have a more open society, a society that is open to debates, a society that promotes scientific thought, the freedom of thought. For example, all these things are required if India has to again attain its position among the leaders of sciences. This is how we sum up our answer for today. We would reassemble for the next lecture in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.